Good morning. My name is Lee, and I just wanted to um, talk to you guys about my journey and where I'm headed with my life, and hopefully, hold on, I'm getting a glare. It's bugging me. There we go. No more glare. Now I can focus. I just want to talk to you guys about my journey, and who I am and what I want to do with this channel and stuff like that. So, my name is Lee. I'll be 48 in a month and a half. My road to get to where I'm at today hasn't been the greatest. It's been rough. It's been bumpy. There's been some tall mountains I've had to climb and a lot of things I've had to overcome with my life. And I'd like to explain some of those to you. So, where should I start? So, I'm on a journey, and this last part of the journey has been about 6 to 7 months long. But let me just give you a little of a backstory on who I am. So, I was married to my mom, or not married. I was born almost 48 years ago to my parents. They were married the whole time until I lost my mom in 2011 to cancer. So starting out in life, it's typical, I would say. I had a brother and a sister growing up, an older brother, younger sister. Brother's like 3.5 years, sister's like 6.5 years younger. My brother's older. So I'm the middle kid. So I'm the best, and just normal childhood stuff that you would assume to have, problems with siblings, problems at school. I mean, it seemed fairly normal to me. School was easy. I got in a lot of trouble though. And then I'm on my third marriage. So I guess we could start with that. So first marriage, I had 2 kids, 2 boys. They're 22 and 26 now. And we were married for 10 years. And then about a year and a half, 2 years after that, I got remarried. That marriage lasted about a year and a half. And then I went on a hiatus for about 6 years, 8 years. My second marriage, it didn't end very well. Let's just say she was not the most faithful person in that year and a half. So I had a lot of trauma with that, a lot of self-worth issues. I blame myself because I wasn't good enough or whatnot. So in 2011, it was a pretty rough year. I graduated from the fire academy in December 2010. My mom ended up passing away in May of 2011, then separated in August of 2011. And these dogs, hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so little side note on this one. So me and my wife, we have 2 dogs. And what I've learned from these 2 dogs is a lot about life, really. We have one. He is like 16 years old. He's a American Pit Bull. And then the other is a 17-month-old Great Dane that's 150 pounds. And they are so different. So our pit, he's at that stage in life where he just doesn't care. Nothing bothers him. He just, as long as his basic needs are met, he is content. He is happy. As long as he can go outside and he has food and water, happiest dog ever. If he gets a treat, he gets a treat. If he doesn't, he doesn't. He just goes through life like, my needs are met, and that's all I need. Our puppy, on the other hand, bounces off the walls. He's very picky. He's very grouchy. He's very needy. He's a lot. He's a lot. Let's just put it that way. And Lucky, our pet, he don't care. Like, if you give him a treat, he's just excited to have a treat. George, he's our pup. If he doesn't like the treat that you're giving to him, he'll actually spit it out and look at you like you're the biggest idiot. Like, I don't like this. Why are you giving it to me? And he'll just look at you and he'll walk away from that treat. And this is George. This is the 150-pound puppy. What? What do you gotta say? What do you gotta say? Huh? What do you gotta say? I know, I love you too. He's a good dog. He just doesn't realize how big he is. Oh, and I just got... Here. This is what you get when you have a 150-pound Great Dane. You never have anything that is clean ever again. Black? You want to wear black? You will be marked from head to toe. He will make sure that every dog on this planet knows that you have a dog at home. Anywho. So, but what I've noticed, these two dogs are a lot like humans. And I want to get to where my pit is. Could you imagine that that's how everybody was? Like, as long as my needs are met, I am the happiest person alive. But our society teaches us different. Anywho's, let me go on. So, my dad was military. He was Navy, so we moved around a lot. So to me, that was fun and exciting as a child, getting to see new things, and it was just amazing. So growing up, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a career military guy. And then when I was 17, turning into 18, I went and searched out an Army recruiter and went down, took my ASVAB, scored high, and basically they said I could have whatever job I wanted. And then did my physical. I went through the whole... I signed up. I was signed up, ready to go. I had a ship out date for basic. I was going to do the early program where I went to basic the summer before my senior year, and then when I get out my senior year, then George, then as soon as I graduated, then I'd be off to my tech school. And then went through all that, had my ship out date. 2 weeks before, recruiter calls me up, says, "Hey, I got some bad news. You have a medical disqualification, so you cannot join the Army." And so that was really my only ambition in life. That was plan A. I didn't have a plan B for what I was going to do if that fell through. I had a scholarship, academic scholarship I turned down. I I blamed it a lot on the girlfriend I had at the time, because I was like, oh, I'm in love, I don't want to leave, you know. But a lot of it was, I live in the Midwest. This would have been on the West Coast. Never really been away from my parents, so I didn't go. And then that relationship fell through, and then I have an uncle that lives in Vegas. He basically gave me the same opportunity. He was like, move out here, become a resident. I'll give you a job. I'll give you a place to stay. Once you become a resident, the state will pay so much of your tuition, and basically you can go to school almost for free. And then whatever the state didn't cover, he would cover, and I could basically have a 4-year degree for free. And then I met my kids' mom, and then we got married. And so obviously I didn't go to Vegas. Probably a good thing, because I was kind of lost back then, and I probably would have gotten into not the best crowds for me. But and I probably would have ended up dead, to be honest. So it just it threw me down a path that I wasn't prepared for. And then was married 10 years, almost 10 years. Got divorced, got remarried, married for a year and a half, got divorced. She wasn't the most faithful person on the planet. And then I don't know, I just kind of like went down a bad path for a while. I was hurt, and so I know I hurt a lot of people in the process. I had these, like, I call them mini relationships. I would get into a relationship, and then once feelings were happening, I ran. My thought process is, well, you know, if you don't have feelings, then they can't be hurt. So once I had feelings, then I left, or I'd find a reason to leave, or whatever. And I know that I've hurt a lot of people in the process. And so if you are one of them and you're watching, I am truly, truly sorry for that. It was just my fear of being hurt. And then I don't know, I was about 38, 39-ish. I was like, I gotta do something different with my life. Might even been a little bit older than that. And so I just started praying to God and asked him to send me a woman that would be good for me. I wanted a Christian woman that was involved in church, because I knew that was something that was missing in my life. And then he sent me my wife, and he pretty much gave me everything that I asked for. At first, my wife's an amazing woman. I am... George, no, we're not doing this. Stop. You have food, you have water, you've gone outside. Enough. You can come here and lay down. Anyways, the first time we met, we just had like a little quick meet and greet at a coffee shop, and then it went really well, and so we went to a place that had more adult libations, alcoholic drinks, whatever you want to call them. We had a few drinks, and got along really well, and so then we started dating. Quickly after dating, I realized she is the complete opposite of me. I'm very quiet, reserved. Trying to think, just real laid back, go with the flow. Just try not to have too much stress in my life. And she's very loud. In a crowded restaurant, you will be able to hear my wife. And that's not totally her fault. She is half deaf in one ear, so, she has to be louder to hear herself. But extremely loud, and I'm like, God, why would you put this loud woman in my life? Like, that's a lot. And but they always say opposites attract, so I was like, let's give it a go. We dated for a few months, and before we had even met, George, sorry, my dog's trying to sit on my lap. You're making this difficult, bud. Anywho's, I had, let me go back to where I was at. Thanks, George. Wife being loud. Oh, yeah. So, I was like, why would you give me this woman? She's so loud and just, poof. But I was like, opposites attract, so, let's give it a whirl. At that time, before I met Sarah, I had already planned on moving to Florida once my son graduated from high school. And so at first, when I told her that, she was like, oh, well, if we work out, I've never lived anywhere else, and that would be kind of cool. I can take my job wherever. Well, I think once the feelings started evolving, she was like, I can't leave my family. Everyone that she knows is here. Like, she's never lived anywhere else. Her family all live here. Her kids are here. So, shortly after that, we split up. And then we were, I don't know, split up for maybe a month and a half, I don't know. And then we started talking again and was like, there's no reason why we can't be friends. So we were just friends that ended up being more than friends. And then I started having feelings and tried to talk to her about it. And she wasn't ready for all that at that time. So we split up again. That was right around the beginning of the summer of 2020. And I don't know, like a month and a half had gone by, and I was just thinking, I was at work. I worked nights at the time, and I was at work. It was a slow night, so I just had a lot of time on my hands. I was just thinking, like, I've never met someone I never fought with or didn't get along with. Like, to give up that gift that God has given me for Florida seems kind of silly. Florida's always going to be there. She may not. So I sent her a text saying, hey, I've been doing some thinking, and, I would like us to give it a go. If it doesn't work out, Florida will always be there. It'll be waiting for me if it doesn't work out or whatnot. And then she responded with something like, I don't think it will work. We're just two different people, type of stuff. Like, it's just, I don't think it's gonna work out, so not even try. I'm like, okay, that's cool, And I was like, are you seeing someone? Because something just didn't seem right about the text. I'm like, are you seeing someone right now? She's like, kinda. I'm like, well, say no more. I wish you guys the best of luck. And then my birthday was about a month or so after that. And she had sent me a happy birthday text, and we just started talking again. And then come to find out that text, it was fear that caused her to send the text. She's never had anyone give up something in their life for her, and that kind of freaked her out. She's never had someone put her before themselves, and so she didn't know how to respond to that. But we got back together, and then we were married about a year later. And we got married. We went on our honeymoon for a week, came back. We were home for a week. Then I left for a week to go on a mission trip with my church. And then that Thursday morning of the mission trip, it was about 2:30 in the morning. I couldn't sleep, so I just had my earbuds in, listening to some worship music and just asking God to give me some peace so I can sleep. And in that, I ended up accepting Jesus Christ into my life, and was saved. And then about a month after that, I was baptized. I was baptized when I was 10-ish, and it was during summer Bible camp, and I don't know, like, I don't really remember. I remember getting baptized, but I don't remember anything about it. I just remember we're all lined up like cows heading in for slaughter, it was one after another, and we were just going through the motions and just repeating back what we were told to say. Like, I didn't understand it, and so got baptized, and before we had gotten married, I was going through, it's called a Cornerstone class through our church, and it just kind of gives you, like, background on the church, what they stand for, background on the Bible, so that you can have a better understanding of, the Bible and how it's written. And in order to be a member of the church, you have to go through that class, and you have to be saved, and you have to be baptized. So basically, like a month after I got back, or after we got married, I was a full member of the church. I started helping out with like setup and takedown, and then I've helped out with like mowing the lawn. Like our church owns some homes that they help struggling families, give them a place to live. So I was like mowing, doing some maintenance stuff on the homes. Just anywhere that I could help out, I was helping out. I'm part of the tech team right now, and so I run like the streams and the projector and stuff. So, but I don't know. I've always felt like I needed to do more. And I'll kind of give you a little bit of background on me and my faith. So, the first memory of church that I have, I don't know, it was like 6 or 7, somewhere around there. But I remember, like, after going to church, like I felt a pull to God, or a pull to something, within the church, and kind of even before church. I can remember like always being pulled or called to something greater. I just never really could understand it or explain it, so I never said anything to anyone. And and you just kind of, just from overhearing adults talk, like when you say something that's obscure or out there, you're afraid of being called, freak or weirdo, or I don't know, like you're mental or whatever. You just have all these like words that go through your mind, and so you just kind of keep things to yourself because you don't want people thinking you're crazy. But and so, and then as my late teens, before I was going into the Army, or even before I signed up to go, I felt a calling to the church. But like I wasn't in the right mindset. I was like, I'm going, I can't do that. Like, I have to change my whole lifestyle, and there's things I want to experience in life that I wouldn't be able to experience if I, worked with the church. I want to go to the army and do this and do that. And, you're 16, 17, you make every excuse in the world, And then, something that I had realized when I was thinking about making this video and stuff, that the times that I felt a calling and I rejected it, come on, buddy. My plans always fell through. So I was called as a teen, didn't get into the army, got married, and then in my late 20s, I felt the same calling, and I even had like affirmation from, friends and family saying, oh, you need to preach, man. You got that gift to, help people understand, and you need to preach. And I'm like, I got too much going on in my life to put time into that, and I'm not the greatest person in the world, so why would God want me to preach? Hey, I'm doing something. I'll stop. I've taken care of you. You've had all your needs met. Now stop, okay? We can play later. Like when I was in my 20s, I denied Jesus. Stop. I love you. Jeez, bud, I love you too. Your hugs are intense. And then, shortly after that, I went through a divorce. And I'm not saying that, like, God caused the divorce because I denied him. It's just I didn't make the right decisions in life. And those decisions affected other things. So, and then in my late 30s, I had the same calling. But at that time in my life, it was a pretty dark time. I turned my back on God after my mom passed away, and had a lot of anger and resentment towards him because I blamed him for it, It wasn't the 3 packs a day she smoked from the time she was 16 until 50. No, it was God, But, like, I just put so much on him. My mom was probably the greatest woman I've ever met, or probably will ever meet. And so I just couldn't understand why would he allow something so bad happening to someone that was so great. And so I turned my back on him and just was living my life through the flesh, bouncing from relationship to relationship, having no direction in my life, making a lot of bad decisions that cost me a lot of money. I said stop. No. Stop. And George, come here. Come here. And come on, buddy. I know. Anyways, George, you're making this very difficult. I would edit this out, but this is part of my life. This is what I deal with every day. He's got anxiety issues. I know you don't like talking about him. And he's got separation anxiety. Severely bad. Everything scares him. Yeah, I know. You're just like me, huh? Yeah, I know. I wanted you to help me with my stuff, not cause it. I know. Come on, bud. All right. Yes, I love you too, bud. Anyway, George. Come on, bud. You're killing me. Look, I don't have anything. I don't have any treats. You need to stop and lay down. Listen. I don't have anything. Stop. Okay, that's enough. You need to sit and lay down. Sit or lay down. One or the other. No. Sit. Thank you. Now behave. Yes. Nice to see you too. Now stop. This is what he's doing. He's trying to get my attention. Stop it. Okay? Can you lay down? Can you lay down? No? Do you want me to hold your hand? Okay. So now I get to hold his hand, and because he's having some separation anxiety. What? No, stop. George. No. Stop. Okay, I'll hold your hand. You're distracting me, George. You're putting me onto a side quest that I can't do right now. Okay? Can you give me 30 minutes? All I need is 30. Can I have 30? Please? George? Behave. Anyways, this is going to take longer than I thought. So, man, where was I? I am so far off track now, George. Oh, yes. Okay. So, I was just going through a dark time in my life. Turned my back on God. And like I said earlier, then I prayed for a savior, and that savior was my wife. So I don't know, for like the last 7 months I've been on this journey. So after my mom had passed away in 2011, and then I was going through the divorce, I was seeking counsel, and during the counseling I found out that I've lived 34 years of my life with ADHD and didn't know I had ADHD. And I had asked my counselor, I'm like, okay, well, what do I do with that? Like, how do I live with ADHD? Oh, it's easy. Just pop a pill every day. Okay, well, I don't believe in pharmaceuticals, so what can I do to cope, to work, to live with it? Like, what are some of the traits? Like, what do I need to look for? Oh, you don't have to do anything. Just take a pill. So I went about my way, living, just putting it out. Okay, I ADHD. I don't know what that means, but that's what I got. I mean, it does explain, it explained back then, like, my restlessness, like, I'm always bouncing my legs, or I'm always fidgeting with my hands, I'm always playing with my face. So some of that stuff kind of, like, made sense. But, like, those things, like, I, like, was never really a worry. Like, no one's ever been like, dude, you touch your face all the time, why are you doing that? Or, slow down, you're talking too fast. Or, why you always gotta be fidgeting with your hands? Why your hands always moving? Like, why you always moving your legs? Like I don't know. Like, it was never questioned. Or I would get yelled at by my mom because I'd shake the whole house with my legs. But other than that, like, there was nothing. My parents were very supportive. They didn't treat me as a troubled child or any of that. If I got too rambunctious, my mom would just kick me out of the house and tell me to come back in when I've calmed down. So I spent a lot of time outside, And outside was where I could be creative, let my imagination wander. I had a lot of good stories and journeys back then that I made up in my head, like going through. We always lived by woods, it seems like, or the beach. So you're always doing like little side quests, like little journeys, little adventures that I make up in my head. And I was just a kid. I thought that's how everyone was. and but there's more to it than just the fidgets. There's the crash. Like, I would feel so lazy, just because I would be overwhelmed for a week, and then there'd be a day where I just couldn't get out of bed, or I wouldn't accomplish tasks, because I just didn't have it in me that day to do it. And so I got called lazy quite frequently, but it was never by my parents. My parents were always like, hey, come on, like, what can I do to help you get through this or whatever. It was the other adults, like my teachers and stuff, that were very, it's not their fault. They didn't understand either. This was like early 80s, mid 80s, even into the 90s. I graduated in 95, but they're like, oh, well, if you applied yourself just a little bit more, the world is your oyster, or the world is yours to take, or whatever they would say, like, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm just bored. Like, I don't want to do it because it's boring. It's not that I'm not applying myself. I don't want to apply myself because I'm not interested in it. I got sent to the principal's office a lot. Back in my day, we would get whipped at school. Or we would get sent to the principal's office, and you knew you were either going to get spanked or you're going to have to do some other stupid thing. And so I had to write a lot when I went to the principal's office. I think because they figured, well, whipping them ain't doing nothing. But it wasn't that I wasn't doing my work. The teacher would say, okay, this is your assignment. It'd be done in 5 minutes. Now I got 20 minutes just to sit there. So I would draw. I would write. I would create things with blank pieces of paper, like airplanes. But I would never throw them in class. I wouldn't talk in class. I wasn't disruptive. I just sat in my seat and I was quiet, and I just kept myself entertained. Well, I would get in trouble for that because you're not supposed to draw in class. You're not supposed to make paper airplanes in class. But these teachers would not take the minute or the second to say, hey, is your classwork done? Yes. You want to look at it? Here it is. I just got sent to the principal's office. I wouldn't even talk, really. People would ask me questions like, hey, how do you do this? How'd you solve this? Like, they're just wanting help. And I'm like, oh, this is how you do it, and then I would get sent to the principal's office for talking. So, like, first time, I think I remember writing, I had to write 100 times, I will not talk in class, or I will not draw in class, or I will not build airplanes in class, or whatever I was doing. By the end of it, like, I was writing thousands and thousands of times. It wasn't like, okay, right, I won't talk 100 times. No, I won't talk 1,000 times. It's like, I wasn't even talking. I was answering a question because you're not doing your job. And so you put up like a protective barrier around yourself. You start isolating yourself away from people. And this is as like, a 7-8-year-old child, because you just don't want to hear it no more. You're tired of being told how much of a screw up you are. And so you create this wall that no one can climb over. And it really changes who you are and who you can be, and it changes like who you could become. I was always told by my parents, whatever you think you can do it. But then you hear teachers telling you can't do that because you're a screw up. You're not smart enough. No, I am. I'm very smart. It's just you don't take the time to get to know me. You just see what you see on the outside. You don't see what's on the inside. And that's how we are as a society. We look at people, we judge them for their exterior. Like they always say, don't judge a book by its cover, but we do every day. And my journey in life and the jobs that I've had have really humbled me in that area of trying not to judge someone by an exterior appearance. But it's hard because society screams at us every day that this is what we're supposed to be and this is what we're supposed to look like, and if you look like this person, then they're a bad person or whatever. The typical stereotypes that we were taught every day by society that aren't true, and then yet we believe them as fact. What? You're really distracting me, George. I don't know what else I can do for you. I've let you out 1,000 times. I've given you probably about 200 treats already. I've petted you for hours. We played a little bit, right? Like, what else do you need? You got water. You've gotten food. You can go get them anytime you want. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Society. Yeah, okay, so ADHD. So it's been a struggle. And during this path I'm on of self-discovery, I've been really researching ADHD and finding out like what it is, and there is so much that I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I am so glad that I didn't get put on pharmaceuticals, because back then I wasn't really, I didn't really know much about medicine or anything like that. You're supposed to believe doctors and trust them. But when I got into the medical field, you learn about a lot about drugs, all types. You learn about pharmaceuticals. You learn about so much and what the pharmaceuticals do. And I didn't realize, like Adderall is basically legalized methamphetamines, and your pain pills are basically legalized heroin, and it's all chemical based. It's not natural. Our bodies are designed a certain way, and it's designed to eat and take natural stuff. Our bodies were never designed for the chemicals we put in our body, just the food we eat, the drinks we drink. Our bodies are not designed for that. And it's proof because it kills us. The food we eat kills us. All those preservatives and chemicals, it's killing us every time we eat. Every time you pop a pill, it's killing you a little bit each time. Every cigarette you smoke, it's killing you. Every, dip of chew you put in your mouth, it's killing you. Every drink of alcohol you drink, it is killing you. If you go into that next level, like alcoholism or smoking every day, it's not healthy. Our bodies aren't sustainable that way. But then you look at other natural medicines and remedies like marijuana. It cures a lot. Well, I guess it doesn't really cure, but it helps. It helps with so much. It helps with cancer. It helps with so many ailments. And as long as your brain is fully developed, the side effects that you have from it aren't life lasting. Like once you stop smoking or however you take it, once you stop, then those go away. Like all those negative side effects go away. They're not life lasting. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to yell at my dogs, and you probably didn't want to hear that. So this in that, like learning, so like Adderall, what it does. So your brain's up here, right? It's just firing at a high rate. Your body's down here. it's not talking, right? They're not talking effectively. So when you take Adderall, what it does is it takes your body and puts it at the level with your brain. That's a lot of stress on your heart, lungs, liver, kidney, your pituitary gland. It sends everything into hyperdrive so that it can be at the same level and same function as your brain. I know that there's a very, very likelihood, probably 95% or higher, that I will die of a heart attack. Every male in my family, on my dad's side and mom's side, have all died from heart attacks. And most of them live very long lives, like 70s, 80s, even 90s. Okay, I want to achieve that length of life as well. I don't want to shorten my life. So with all my ailments, I have ADHD, I have back problems, I have insomnia, I have anxiety issues. In order for me, if I were to take a pill to cure or fix everything that I have, I'll need to take 4 or 5 pills a day. And those 4 or 5 pills are just filled with chemicals. Or I can smoke a half a joint before I go to bed. It helps me sleep. The next day, I don't have any side effects. I don't feel drunk. I don't feel high. I feel like normal. But yet my anxiety is manageable. My pain is manageable unless I do something silly. My thoughts are better. My brain, even though I smoke that the night before, it does last quite a bit into the next day. And then normally it runs out about 1, 2 o'clock, like right about now. And then so I just push through it for the next 5 or 6 hours until I smoke. But that allows me to get everything I need to do during the day. It allows me to sleep at night. So to me, it's like, do I continue smoking half a joint? On occasions, I'll smoke more, but normally it's because I don't realize how much I've smoked. And I do smoke on occasion, recreationally. Not all the time, but okay, so we just had 4th of July, so I did smoke on the 4th throughout the day. It'd be no different than if someone was grabbing a beer throughout the day, you know. The only thing is that those extra smokes that I had are going to have zero lasting effect on me. The guy that put away a 12-pack or a case of beer on the 4th, more than likely he does that on a regular basis, and that is killing him every day. Every drink, he is killing his liver, he is killing his kidneys, he's killing everything. But there's just this bad connotation or bad stigma placed on marijuana, and that's because we've been lied to by the government since the 60s regarding marijuana, how bad it is for you. But that's a whole different topic that I'm not going to get onto today. But so my journey, along this journey over the last 6-7 months, finding about ADHD, I have found out that a lot of people with ADHD, that's only part of it. That there's more there. It's just most time when these counselors are asking you questions, they'll be going down the ADHD road. They check off all the checks and oh, you have ADHD, and they don't continue asking questions. If they continue asking questions, they'll be like, oh, not only do you have ADHD, but you have this and you have this. And that will help you understand more about who you are and why you do things. So kids, adults with autism get misdiagnosed with just ADHD only. So like a lot of my stims or quirks or glitches or whatever you want to call them, my quirks, I call them my quirks, they don't align up with just ADHD. And so during this, like, I started researching autism. What does it mean? What is it? Because, like, all I knew about autism is what I learned when I was growing up. And if you were autistic, then you were deemed as mentally retarded. And with that, you would get placed into remedial classes, LD classes, learning disability classes. You'll be placed into behavioral disorder classes. And so, you know, you weren't helped. You were actually held back because they're like, oh, well, you have learning disability, so you can't learn, so let's just throw you in with these other kids that can't learn. When actually your IQ is very, very high. It's just you learn differently. And you process things differently. And so, like, you know, I feel normal. Like, I don't feel like I have a learning disability. Like, you know, before the car accident, I really thought that I had, you know, photographic memory. So, you know, I knew that I wasn't, like, you know, mentally handicapped or anything like that in that aspect, because that's all I knew. That's all I was taught as growing up, is that, you know, if you're autistic, then there's a lot of problems there. You know, and so you feel normal, so you don't think that's even an issue. But then you start finding out what autism is and what it looks like. And it's like, I have the social, I don't pick up on social cues. I say the wrong thing in public because I think it's funny in my head. You know, I'm like, oh, let's make everyone laugh. And then I blab this thing out that's very inappropriate. Wrong place, wrong time. And then it's like, you know, like, ooh, not again, you know, like, and there's more to it, and you know, I'll get more into other videos, because I'm still learning, so I don't really know 100% about it, or 100% of my quirks or my tics or whatever, so I'm still learning, but as I learn, I want to share with you guys, just because life's too short to go through life feeling like you're a piece of crap for no reason, feeling like you're lazy, feeling like you don't bring anything to the table into this world, that you're just a burden, you know, like just the stuff that you hear growing up because of who you are. And there's nothing wrong with who you are, it's just who you are. It's just how you're built. It's just how your brain works. There's nothing wrong with being weird, you know. And like growing up, that's all I was told my whole life. You're weird, you're weird, you're weird, you're weird. You know, you can't do anything because you're weird. You can't do anything because you're lazy. You can't do anything because you're stupid. You can't do anything because you're a waste of space. You can't do anything because of this. You hear that for so long, you start to believe it as fact. And so what I'm hoping with this channel is that I can help someone to know that they are worth something. Don't listen to the haters. You can do whatever you want. You can. It's been proven time and time again. You see people like that go through so much adversity throughout their whole life, but then you see where they're at today, and it's like, I want to be there. I don't know a whole lot about Elon Musk, about his childhood and stuff, but I've heard like little, quips about, things that he said. I don't think he had a real good life growing up as a child. It doesn't sound like it anyways. But look where he's at. He's got Asperger's. I mean, that had to have created so many boundaries for him, and but look at where he's at today. He was born in South Africa, from understanding a very not a great childhood, and he's in America as one of the richest men in the world. So just do not let your environment dictate where you end up. That's all I gotta say. Because you can change your environment. If you don't like the environment you're in, you can change that. So, we all can be whatever we want. If you want to be a doctor, you can be a doctor. Is it going to be harder for some than others? Yes, because we're all different. We all learn differently. It just means you got to put a little bit more effort in, like if someone has a hard time, like me, before my my car accident when I was 18, that caused brain damage and stuff. Before then, I didn't have to memorize anything. It was just in my head. After struggle, because I couldn't. It wasn't easy anymore. It was hard. So I gave up a lot because I wasn't used to things being hard. Things used to be so easy in my head. So there are struggles that we each face. Some are the same and some are different, but we all have struggles. But back to my journey. So over the last 6-7 months, I've just been, a lot in learning about myself. I went out to my cousins. He lives in the mountains of Tennessee, and I went out there for 4 days just to get some solace. Him and his wife, they worked, and so while they were at work, I was just in the woods, man, just me, my worship music, and God, and just saw a lot of clarity and a lot of understanding, and that put me on the path that I am now. About 2, 3, 4 weeks after I got back from Tennessee, there was one night I just couldn't sleep and just had all these thoughts just running through my head. And kind of like that day and the day before, like just the seminary was really heavy on my heart. And I couldn't really understand it. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to school. Like, that was one thing that I've been saying probably for 10 years. I'm done with school. I hate school. I don't want to go to school anymore. Like, if it was just to go learn what I need to learn, fine. But no, you have to learn other crap that has nothing to do with what you're learning, and I just have a problem with that. That's just me paying money that I don't need to pay because they want to make money, and they say that this is what we need for a degree. No, teach me what I need to do the job that I'm going for. Don't give me all the other crap that has nothing to do with my degree. But anyways, so I was like, it's not me, it's not for me. I have huge stage fright. It's debilitating. So I'm like, it ain't gonna be me to be up there preaching. But the next day, by the time I got on, I don't know, like I got up, and then I don't know, maybe an hour or two after that, I got on Facebook. I was bored or whatever, and the first thing when it opened up was an advertisement to a seminary school, and I'm like, what? Like, that's the first advertisement I'd ever seen for seminary on Facebook. Period. And I don't know, maybe Facebook has this technology, I don't know, but I hadn't said anything to anyone about seminary. I hadn't Googled it or looked up anything about seminary. I never even said it out loud. It was all in my head. So, unless Facebook has learned how to read minds, it was from God. I truly feel that. And so when I saw it, I was like, trying to tell me something, you know? And like, as I scroll, it's just seminary. Everything was about seminary. And so I was like, where do we even start? So my old associate pastor, he had just gone through seminary. So I reached out to him and it's like, hey, can you give me some info on seminary? Like, how do you go about going and doing it, whatever. When I hit send to send that text, this voice came through my head so loud. It said, you're going to seminary. And I was like, okay. There was no question. There was no thought. It was, you're doing this? And I said, okay. The minute I said, okay, everything changed in my life. I mean, everything. What was good is now bad. What was bad is now good. Like, it just flip-flopped everything around. And during this conversation with God, he told me, he said, your life will not be the same. Your struggles are going to be different and they're going to be harder. You're going to lose friends, but you're going to make new friends. Your biggest supporters are going to be the people you were afraid to tell. The people that will try to push you away from this calling will be the ones that you would think would be your biggest supporter. He said that there are going to be people that are going to come to you to be a mentor or a shepherd, but their intentions are wrong. They're not speaking out of the spirit, they're speaking out of the flesh. So you have to be in a right mindset to discern what is from you, what is from me, and what is from the devil. You have to stay obedient. You have to be in worship daily. You have to be in the spirit daily. You have to be in scripture daily. If you do those things, if you stay obedient daily, and if you stay in worship and in scripture, you will have the armor of God. You will be able to discern from good and what's evil, from what is the spirit and what is the flesh, what is righteous and what is the enemy. And he said, don't be tempted by these false shepherds or false mentors. Or false disciples. I think disciples is what he called them. And they will be in they'll be in sheep's clothing. They will look like your friend, but they're not. And it's not them that is being this way. The enemy is using them for what he wants. And he told me, he's like, what the number one thing the enemy wants to do is to destroy God's perfect plan. And what's God's perfect plan? Marriage. A man finding a woman, getting married, creating that family, and carry on the legacy that God has given you to teach, to spread the word, to help others, that's his plan, right? And God said, Satan will attack your plan. He will attack what you know is right. He will make you question right from wrong, righteousness from the enemy. He'll make you question, is this the right path for me? But stay obedient and that will go away. And I was like, okay. I'm excited for this. I have no idea what is in store for me. Like, I've gone through a lot of adversity in my life. I can't even imagine what you're going to throw or what the devil's going to throw at me. But I know I have you on my side and you got my back. So no matter what, I know I'm going to be okay. And the first thing that the enemy attacked was my marriage. There was some relationships that I had that were not good that are now strong and better than ever. Relationships that I thought would never be able to be repaired. Like they were fixed like that, like overnight. And but my wife and I, we started struggling. My wife is very into the church. She's very Christian, very religious, and like we're at our throats, being hurtful, saying hateful things, just creating distance between each other. And it was kind of getting to that point, and that's why I went to Tennessee, was to reevaluate my life and marriage and what to do from this point forward. Well, over the last 2-3 months, it's gotten to the point where we don't even want to look at each other, and we had this trip planned, and she ended up going on it by herself because if we didn't get some space, we weren't going to make it. So, as soon as she texted me, it hurt. Hey, I don't want you to go. I need some time away from you. That hurts. Because you're doing everything you can to make things better. And it's just another blow to your gut, But as soon as I got that text, I prayed about it. I'm like, God, this is 2 weeks. We're going to be apart from each other. I only took 4 days. Like, man, that's a long time to be away from each other. But give me the answer, And he's like, let her go. What's 2 weeks for the rest of your life? Is sacrificing 2 weeks with your family for a family vacation, is that worth having greatness for the rest of your life? Or do you want to, be here on this planet and force something that is not going to work? If you force yourself to go, she is going to harbor those feelings for you because she needs that time. And you're not giving it to her. So you have a choice. You can go and exacerbate the issues, or you can give her 100% full blessing, knowing that no matter what the outcome is at the end of the 2 weeks, you're going to be okay. Like, you're still on this journey. It's not going to stop that. Your path isn't stopped. No matter if she came back and is like, hey, I don't love you. I want a divorce. Is your life over? No. It just means that you got to take a different path to get to where you want to go. So don't fight it. Let her take the 2 weeks. And whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. Stop worrying about it. This isn't in your hands anymore. You gave it to me. Stop taking it back. And what I notice is anytime that I give something to God, then I have an issue with patience. And I came up with this when I was a kid. I don't know. It was probably even before I went to church. I don't know. But I came up with this little slogan or joke, whatever you want to talk about, call it, about my ability to have patience. So, when you're born, there's these multiple lines that you go up to, and they're handing out stuff like intelligence, patience, whatever, just social stuff, personality traits. Well, when I got to the patience line, I'm like leaning, I'm like, dang, this is gonna take forever. So I left. Therefore, I had no patience with stuff that I want. I have patience with people, but when it comes to like me wanting something, I have no patience, and God is working on that, and it sucks, believe me. So like I'll give something to God, and then it's like, well, he's not working as fast as I think he should work. Let me grab it back and see if I can make it move faster. The minute I touch it again, it all falls to crap. It takes longer to get to the end result when I take it back. And that's where I need to learn patience. So, and unfortunately, that line, I can't get back in it. It's just going to be, now I have to learn it. You know what I'm saying? So, but so, that was kind of like part of our conversation. Is like, quit taking it back. Just give it to me and let me handle it. And so that's what I have to do. And so, she's still down there. She's coming back today. She's been down there for 4 days and wanted to come home, was ready to come home. Wants to talk about like what she has realized, what she's found out, and so I'm excited to hear her journey as well. But let's move on from that. She doesn't want me to put her business out there too much, so I gotta respect that. But my journey, yes. So when I sent that text and God was like, you're going to seminary, and I'm like, okay. And then, so I've had people that have pushed me away that I thought would welcome me, and I've had people welcome me that I thought would push away. My brother was one of the people that I felt like would push me away. My brother's type, he's 4 years older, 3.5. He just doesn't share his emotions very well and his feelings, so you really don't know what was going on up there, or how he feels about certain stuff. I don't really know where he's at with his spiritual journey. He always seemed to reject church, so I didn't even know if he even believed. We just never had that conversation, So I went to his work, and we were just, shooting a breeze and BSing, and I was like, hey, I want to tell you something. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And so I told him about me wanting to go to seminary, and just kind of like a quick, brief snapshot of everything I've told you guys for the last hour, half hour, whatever it is. And he was like, that's awesome. He said, I'm happy for you. And I'm like, wow, And I think he asked me a question or something, I can't remember, but I was like, I'm scared to death though, because I'm just not a get up in front of people and talk type of person. And I was like, I got a mouth on me. Every job I've had has been construction or around men or whatever. So like got into construction or labor type jobs after high school because I needed money because got married and was getting ready to have a kid and needed to be responsible, so I did like labor type jobs. So you're just always around dudes, and we all have bad mouths and inappropriate jokes and stuff like that. And so I went from construction or labor type jobs to I wanted to be a firefighter. I actually got into banking for a little bit, and then the crash of '08 happened. And so I was like, I want a job where I can help people and the economy doesn't dictate if I have a job or not. So I went back to school, went through the firefighter EMT program, graduated, fought fires for a year and a half. Couldn't really find a full-time job, so I went back into the labor industry, and just my body was like, you can't keep doing this. And so I got into what I learned through school, the fire academy and all that, enabled me to get a job with our county medical examiner's office, and I did autopsies for 3 months, got promoted to investigator, and investigated death for 2.5 years, and I loved the job, but $14 an hour just wasn't paying. I just couldn't make my bills. And with my kids, having shared custody of my kids, like trying to like have a part-time job, full-time job, and juggle the kids, all in between that, it wasn't happening. So I ended up switching jobs and still working with death, but I worked for a tissue and organ donation company, so I would recover the tissue from the donors for like skin grafts, cornea replacement, bone grafts, arterial grafts, artery grafts, arterial, veins, vein grafts, heart valve, like you name it, bones, skin, muscle, tendons. We all recovered it for donation, and I did that for 5 years. So about 8 to 10 years in the death industry. You kind of develop a dark sense of humor. You kind of have to when you're seeing death every day. Just kind of give you a snapshot. And in the 3 years I worked for the medical examiner's office, I investigated over 2,500 deaths. That's a lot. It's a lot of dead people. When I did recovery, I would see anywhere from 4 to 6 dead people a night. That's a lot of dead bodies, a lot of negativity. I'm an empath, so I absorb all that raw emotion from the families and what I see and hear. And I don't know, it just got to me. But so I have a dark sense of humor. I say things that are very inappropriate at the very wrong time. I cuss like a broken down drunken sailor that just got beat up by a dog. I don't know, like I just cuss a lot. And so like when I was talking to my brother, I'm like, I just don't know how I'm gonna be able to get around the cussing part, and he's like, well, does it say you can't cuss in the Bible? I'm like, well, no, but you don't want to be up at the pulpit and be like, and Jesus said at the last supper, he told the 12 disciples, one of you MFers is gonna deny me by 3 times, or one of you MFers is gonna betray me. I can't say that, even though that's where my brain goes. I don't know how many people would follow me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, maybe I'll get more than I think. But that was one of the things that I struggled with. I can't be a preacher. I've done so many sinful things in my life. I still have sinful thoughts. Like, why would God want to use me, Like, I'm just a broken down sinner, that like, I don't know. And he's like, but your heart is good. You all sin. There's not going to be a day you don't sin. So you can't use that as a reason, because preachers, they sin every day. You sin every day. You're going to sin. That's just your nature. But your heart is in the right place. Your heart is gold. Your heart is good. You want good things for other people. You want other people to be more successful than you. Like, you are a good person. You just made bad decisions. And we all do that. We all make bad decisions. No one has lived a life where they haven't made any bad decisions, So, and then there are people that I was so excited to tell, and they just beat me down with negativity. You gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, can't do this anymore. And some of the stuff that they were saying is like, you got me confused with somebody else, because that's not even me. Yes, I do need to work on some things, but a lot of stuff you're saying is not even, like, that's not even me. Like, you must, and it was like, I was so excited to tell this person, and they just beat me up and made me question if I should even go through with it, But then I remembered that God told me that I will have people try to discourage me, and he said, just keep pushing through and do what you're supposed to do. He's like, I gave you a list of things to do, and you just need to do it. Everything else everything else will fall into place. So that's where I'm at on this journey, man. Like, it's just, I'm fired up for it. I'm excited, scared. I do have a testimony that I've been writing. Maybe I'll read that the next time. But I do want to leave you with a few things. So there was one night I couldn't sleep, and there was these 4 lines just burning in my head. And I'm like, God, just let me go to sleep, like, I had Jesus and God was all in my head that night, and it was just so loud and so just, I couldn't focus, and there was this line, these lines were keeping going over and over and over in my head. So I'm like, I better write this down, before I forget, because I do that all the time. And this is actually the second time of making this video. I had my earbuds in, and it kept on rubbing against my beard, and so it irritated the crap out of me. So I may be repeating things because I can't remember if I've already said it in this video or if it was the video before. So if you've already heard this, you're going to hear it again. I don't know what I would do without my wife. Before her, I would go through life just forgetting everything. Don't know what I'm supposed to do today. There was one time I had 4 traffic tickets. I have a speeding problem. Don't judge. So I had 4 tickets that I completely forgot about. How do you forget about? And I got these 4 tickets all within like a 2 to 3 weeks span, right? So it's not like they were like months apart. It was like all within 2 to 3 weeks. I got 4 traffic tickets. Completely forgot about them until a cop car went flying by me one night. I'm like, oh crap! That's not what I said. I got like 4 tickets. When are they due? They were all. I had 4 warrants out. Yeah, that cost me about $2,000 to get out of. Luckily, I never got pulled over. Luckily, I never got arrested. But it did cost me about $2,000 to get out of that mess. But anyways, getting back to it. I don't know where I would be at without my wife. So I put things on a calendar now, and why I've never done that till now blows my mind. It is so helpful. It keeps me on track, it keeps me on pace, it keeps me on the path. And the notes in your phone, like, I've had it on my phone since I don't know, I guess had the iPhone 8. I don't know, but I've never used it until I met my wife. So that night when I was, like, the night I'm getting ready to talk about, where, like, I'm like, oh, I got this in my head, and you write down. Normally I'll be like, no, because for me to write it down, it means I'm going to have to get out of bed, go find a pencil, go find a piece of paper. And by the time I find all that stuff and actually get out of bed, I'm going to forget everything that is up here. So I don't get out of bed. And that's one thing with ADHD, or it could be the autism. I don't know. I'm actually let me bounce back to that, because I had started talking about that and then got sidetracked. The end of this month, I'm going to get tested for autism. I've taken online tests, and they've all said, autistic. But they're like, you have so many markers, you are on the spectrum, but you need to go see a specialist to really know. So that's what I'm doing. At the end of the month, I'm going to get tested for that. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, so my wife got sent. I wrote this down. And so it's a poem I wrote off of these 4 lines. And the first 4 lines of the poem I had already written like months ago, but like I got stuck like after the 4th line. And these are very rough, so like I need to go through them and clean them up and rewrite it in a few spots. So just bear with that. But so what was going through my head that would not go away was, I was born into the flesh, but rescued by the light, reborn as a believer and a follower of Christ. That was just going over and over and over and over and over. Couldn't stop it. So I was like, well, I'll get my notes out. I'll just put it underneath the beginning of that poem. And then, I'll figure it out later. Well, I wrote those 4 lines and I couldn't stop. It was just coming. Like, I was just putting it out there in the notes as fast as it was coming to my head. But so the name of the poem is called Walk with Jesus. And I'll go ahead and read it to you. So the first 4 lines were the lines I had like 2 months ago, and then everything else after that was that one night. So it goes, here I come into his army. I bring nothing but my faith and open arms. I give you my heart and soul. Give me a staff and show me the way. I was born into the flesh, but rescued by the light, reborn as a believer and a follower of Christ. I see the path he's given me, even though it looks bumpy. The days that I stumble, Jesus is there to relight my way. Shake off the dust as you are safe. In the darkness there is light, and in light there is darkness. Walk in the Spirit, and your path will be rewarded. I am in your army, ready and waiting. Show me the way, as my life is yours. Thank you for your kindness. You were always there. Even when I ran away, you just patiently waited for my return. My faith has been restored by your grace and love. You have set me on a journey only you could have prepared. I'm excited for the next turn, no matter what the direction. I'm not afraid, for I know this is your will. Amen. So that was the poem that I wrote. And there was a song that I wrote as well. And I want to say I wrote it that same day, or maybe the day before. I can't really remember. But this one, I'm going to read it all because it does repeat itself towards the end. But I'll read you everything up to that point. The name of this is called Follow Jesus. And we'll start. And again, this is very rough. I haven't cleaned it up. So some of the stuff doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't flow. So I just need to go through and just rewrite some things to allow it to flow better. And so here it goes. By grace you have been saved. You have been saved through faith. This is not your doing, but a gift from God. becoming a new creation in Christ. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. Christ is the reason I've been renewed. I'm one of his flock, and he is my only shepherd. I hear his voice as he knows what I do. In the Spirit I will imitate as I am of Christ. God sacrificed his Son. Be with Christ and carry your cross. Pick up your cross and follow Jesus. Whoever does is worthy. Follow Jesus and deny yourself. Pick up your cross daily. Crucified with Christ, he now lives in me. Keep in step with the Spirit by living through Jesus. Jesus is my friend and I follow him freely. He is my protector and the founder of my faith. Jesus is my Redeemer. He is my Savior. I will follow where he leads as Christ is in me. Take this evil from my eyes as it is you I wish to follow. I am in your house. Show me how to serve you. See, I need to fix that a little bit. Pick up your cross and follow Jesus. Whoever does is worthy. Follow Jesus and deny yourself. Pick up your cross daily. I am worthy. You are worthy. My children follow Jesus and all things are possible. Take his hand and let him lead. Pick up your cross. Pick up your cross. Pick up your cross and follow Jesus. And then it just repeats itself after that. So there are some things I need to smooth out a little bit. The last two things I want to leave with you are two prayers that I try to say every day. The second one I wrote 100%. The first one was actually authored by a pastor that I can't remember his name, but he put a book out about finding Jesus and how to become saved and stuff. And so this prayer is kind of based on the prayer that he wrote for people who are accepting Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And so I just changed it up just a little bit to fit my life a little bit better in this season of my life. So it's, Lord Jesus, I am a sinner. I thank you for dying for my sin and rising to open heaven, or raising to open heaven. I turn from my sin as wrong and I turn to you for forgiveness. Jesus, please help me stay an obedient Christian. Please be the Lord over my life and teach me every day how to have a closer relationship with you. Amen. The second one is more of like a daily prayer for like me and my family and just the people that are close to me, and just it's just, to me, it's a good daily prayer. But here goes. Dear Lord in heaven, I want to thank you for the blessings you give me every day. I ask that you come into my body and give me the wisdom that I need to make the righteous decisions. Please soften my heart that I can help those who need help. Give me the wisdom to help those in need through the Spirit of Christ. Please come into my home and soften the hearts of those that I love and care for. Give them the knowledge to discern from the flesh the enemy and the spirit. Open my eyes to your heart, Lord. Let me see my life through you. In your name I pray. Amen. So I will leave you with that, guys. There is so much. I mean, you got to think about it. I've been talking for maybe an hour. And that's just a brief snapshot of everything that's been going on in my life in the last 6 to 7 months. But so much has happened in the last 48 years to have molded me into the person that I am today, to make the decisions that I make, to feel the way I feel. That's 48 years, of, people talking down on me, and you're hearing that from all those people that are supposed to be the ones that are there to help guide you through life. And you're hearing these negative things, that you're this lazy, horrible, person that will never accomplish anything in their life. And you tack that on with the ADHD and possible autism. I mean, that is just a recipe to change someone's life, and I am grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for who I am. And I do believe that everything in life is a lesson and will help you later on in life. And so the only thing that I'm hoping from this is that I can take my traumas and my tragedies and my adversity and my struggles and show people how I got through it, and maybe it will help just a few people, or just one person to get through life just a little bit easier, and look at life differently. Um, if I can just help one person through my struggles, then my struggles were worth it, Um, but I am very, very happy of who I am. I'm very proud who I am. I love who I am. I know I'm a good person. I am a sinner like everybody else, and I make bad decisions. What matters is that we learn from those decisions, and we learn from the mistakes that we make, so we don't repeat them, hopefully. But I'm going to leave you guys with that. I just want to let you guys know, thank you for spending the hour with me, or however long it is. I probably won't edit much of this because, I don't know, I'm just about raw thoughts and life, and it is how it is, Life isn't this perfect edited video. It's very choppy. There's a lot of distractions, and I hope that a little bit of my life makes you laugh, because it makes me laugh every day. If you can't laugh at your life and the stupid stuff you do, or the things you say, or I don't know, you have to laugh at yourself. You have to humble yourself. You have to acknowledge your flaws and apologize when you need to apologize. You just need to humble yourself, and I'll get into more of that later on. There's a lot that has happened in my life that has humbled me a lot. We kind of, we believe what we hear, and from the time you're born, you're told about stereotypes and these people, based on stereotypes. So before you even meet anyone, you already have this idea formulated of who they are. And it really does such a disservice to you and to people around you, because I've met some of the most fascinating people, and I've learned the most from people that I typically wouldn't meet in a normal circumstance because of certain stereotypes, the way they dress, the way they act, the way they smell, whatever. But when you work, you're forced to work with all avenues of people, all avenues of life, all cultures, and you get to learn a little bit about these stereotype people, from a personal level, and those stereotypes are 90% wrong. I'm just going to throw that out there. They're not accurate at all. In my experience in life, they're only about 10% accurate. But they're sometimes, they're funny. That's why they're in movies, because they're funny. Like, they make jokes about it to make light of what these stereotypes say. But the society still keeps enforcing, no, these are the stereotypes because they're true. No. I was told when I was young, don't believe everything that you hear, especially from the government or from people that you're told to trust, like doctors and stuff. But then you're also taught that you're supposed to believe and respect and not question authority or anyone in those positions of power. But then when you get older and you start seeing things, you're like, yeah, I see why now. Because a lot of those people have someone in their pocket feeding it. You know what I'm saying? So, not to question authority, but if something doesn't sound right, it probably isn't. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And my best advice is research. Do your own research. Don't listen to what the media says. Don't listen to what crackhead Jimmy says down the street. He's probably got more honesty than anything, to be honest. But what I'm saying is research. Do your own research. all the answers are out there. You gotta dig a little bit. But we're a fast-moving society and culture, so we just hear things and we run with it, and we don't actually take the time to stop and research it. But that's another topic for another day. Like I said, my brain, it's always got something going on in there. But if there's anything you want to know about me, my life's an open book. I don't hold any secrets that I know of. But I have a lot of ideas, and I have a lot of theories, and there's some crazy stuff that I can come up with in my head. So if there's a topic you want to talk about, or if there's something that you want to know more about, I love learning myself, so ask away. If there's something in the Bible you don't know about, ask away. I need to learn, so that if it's something that I don't know right off the bat, then that means I gotta research it, and that means it's a learning experience for me as well. So I'm gonna leave you with that. I wish you all nothing but the best and the greatest success in life. And no matter how hard life gets, there's always a new day to make a difference. No matter how bad today is, tomorrow can be better. So I just want to leave you with that. And I don't know how often I'm going to be doing these videos. I'm going to do them as frequent as I can. And we'll go with that. All right, my timer says 56 minutes. I do have another video I need to put with this. It's probably about 15-20 minutes. I did not plan on it being this long, but I don't mind long videos. I can talk for hours, obviously. So I'm gonna leave you with that, and I will see you next time. And I really hope and pray that each and every one of you has a blessed day, and I will see you next time. Peace and love.